Hey guys, Ronin here. Welcome on back to the Retrocade. It's Sunday, and that means it's time for our 6th edition of Suckerpunch Sunday. As always, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, ring the bell to be notified of the latest content. You can also follow us on Twitter at @RetroCade, and I figured this Sunday we were going to have fun with what is arguably considered the greatest multiplayer arcade beat-em-up of all time, and that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, or as in the case of the Super Nintendo, TMNT 4. The reason for that is because when this game came out in 1992 for consoles, it was released a year before on in arcades. Because they had done 3 prior editions of it for the Nintendo Entertainment System, they wanted to keep it sequentially going and gave it number 4 in the series, even though by the time it came out in arcades, they had really not even bothered building it as any sort of a sequential series at all. But along with The Simpsons and the original 4-player X-Men game, this is easily one of the most popular games you will still find in any viable arcade to this day. And the reason why is really simple. Because in the 1980s, and I'll pause it really quick before we get too far into it, in the 1980s, when you really had arcades popping up everywhere, the most that you could really get out of a cabinet was you had enough room for 2 players. If you were lucky and you had certain racing games, I remember there were some like Ivan Stewart's Iron Man Off-Road, Danny Sullivan's IndyCar Racing. They had multiplayer setups for, I think, 3 to 4 players. But as far as beat-em-ups and other games, it really wasn't until the late 90s that you started or late 80s rather, that you started seeing cabinets being made for more than 2 players. And that's how, I think one of the first ones was the original X-Men, which is still a great game, and at some point we're going to play that one too. And then about the same time you had The Simpsons come out with their 4-player cabinet, and then Konami dropped this gem, and it's still just a game that is so much fun to play. And what I like about this one, especially for the Super Nintendo, is that the fidelity of it is pretty close to what we got in the arcades. They did make a couple of changes to additional levels, and I think they made some stuff that you get in the arcade version more bonus type stuff. But it just is so much fun to play. And again, you can pick any of the 4 turtles. I always like to go with Leonardo because I always have been a sword guy. That's just kind of my thing. But each one has their own strengths, their own weaknesses. And kind of like Streets of Rage 2, they do have special attacks that they can do. And when you do it, it saps their life a little bit. So you have to be careful and pick your battles when and however you can. You also get a bit of a charge run attack that allows you to take additional enemies out. Let's see if I can... There we go. That's another nice quirk, is that you can get yourself near a barrel like that, ignite it, and then if you can get out of the way, it takes out all your opponents, but not you. So yeah, you see that big pirouette swing that Leonardo did? That's his special attack, but it does, as I'm getting hammered here. Ow, and I got zapped. I got zapped again. So yeah, you have to be careful in how you apply the special attacks, and then aside from that, this is one where if you can get you and a couple of buddies in playing it, you can just go to town. And also similar to Streets of Rage 2, I do like how the presentation of it is done. It's vibrant, the music's interesting, it's fun. They just got everything right with this game. I always love it when you can pull that off, when you get that slam where he just skewers a guy with a sword and then just slaps him around a bit. I gotta get that pizza. That's a good time to swing for the fences. But unlike the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game for the NES, which is still considered pretty controversial to this day, Because now we got our first sub-boss in Baxter here. Look, jerk. You know, what Ultra did in creating the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game was they didn't have a lot of that stuff in here. You don't have to worry about swimming your way through a dam or jumping over seemingly impossible obstacles to get from one point to another. And also, if you have Donatello, that doesn't automatically guarantee a win. Because that was the one thing I always remember about that game, was that if you played the original TMNT for the Nintendo, is that Raphael stunk. And I will admit, I haven't played him in this game in a long time. And Donatello was always the one you wanted to have, because his bow staff could just take out anybody. And that takes down Baxter. So Big Apple 3 AM is clear, so that takes care of level 1. What I also like about this game is that the soundtrack was also created by Mitsuhiko Izumi, who did work on the previous arcade games for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And you can still utilize the hydrants, which helps. When in doubt, drop a jump kick. I'll never get tired of that slam. I just won't. What I also like about it is that if you get somebody behind you, and they didn't even have this in Streets of Rage 2, but if somebody kind of gets within a close enough proximity, then you'll just lean back and kick them. You don't have to really make sure you're facing everybody in order to get to them. Now, I could go down that manhole cover, or that open manhole, but that's not going to help me any. Ow. Ow. And when you're in mid-flight, you can actually change direction on a dime, which is pretty cool. And I've been shell-shocked and knocked out again. But even the common foot soldiers, which are the ones in purple, if you let them get too close and you let them overrun you, they can lay the lumber to you pretty hard. But back in the day when we could still go to arcades, and there were arcades available where I grew up in Portland, this was a cabinet that was pretty much always in use, and if it wasn't in use, then it was always being down and being serviced, because it got used so much. And you'd see kids dropping nickels and quarters into this stuff all the time. I've totally forgot about this part of it. Ow. Uh-oh. Alright, I get a continue out of it. Alright, I'm gonna change it up. I'm gonna go with Michelangelo for a bit. I think I have to start all over. I do. And he can still do the over-the-shoulder thwomp. But even in some of the retrocades I've gone to, if they've got a TMNT cabinet, you can pretty much guarantee that there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to be there playing. And what's even funnier is when they kind of get into their cups a bit, because in most retrocades, because they're more adult-based, you can rig alcohol at them. Not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm just saying it's what they do. But seeing people slightly or even potentially considerably inebriated playing this game can be sometimes even more amusing than playing it yourself. Alright, guys. I'm seeing I just had full health coming into this part of this section, and but because Michelangelo's nunchucks are a little bit faster, I can keep these guys from hitting me that much quicker. Now these jerks again. Alright, take them out. Ow! The Silverfoot clan members of the Manrika Gusari, those ones are considerably more annoying. Now, who have I got here? Oh, that's right, the Mecha Turtle. Metalhead. I should be able to take him out pretty easily here. And kaboom. So Michelangelo takes out level 2. But yeah, after this came out in 1991, this ended up being the most popular and biggest selling arcade title Konami had at the time. And when TMNT 4 came out, the reviews were so good that most magazines like EGM, Electronic Game Monthly, gave it a 9 out of 10. As I'm sitting here surfing way between these guys. Ow. Jerk. I'm not gonna let these sword guys skewer me. Ow. Forgot about that. Oh, now the alien thing's coming through. But back in the day when you were putting these sorts of games together, and it's still a thing that happens now, is that you just don't know for sure what sort of reaction you're going to get when you come up with a game. And say what you will about the Rat King. Ow. But Konami got a whole lot more right than they did wrong with this game. That still cracks me up. But I think I'm in big trouble here. Because I gotta be able to get right in the middle here and bust this thing up. They come up to avoid the spiky toe mines. Gonna get hit there. There, that finally took him out. In their 1992 rankings for this game, Nintendo Power ranked it 7th in their top 10. And in their rankings of the best Super Nintendo games of all time, Games Radar has it 24th. And this game is so popular that it's been remade a bunch of times. You can get it now. I think you can still... I don't know if you can still get it on Xbox Live. And it was redone as TMNT reshelled for next-gen consoles, including the PS3. Go away. So if you can get it on a next-gen console, by all means, do so. Especially nowadays where you can get things like multiplayer ability. This is still just a fun game. It's challenging, but if you get a couple of buddies together and you play it for a while, get off me. Okay, let's switch it up. We'll go with Donatello for this bit. And he can still do that flip. Donatello and that bow staff, man, that has always been something that no matter how many versions of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game you play, he is just a bad dude. He gets that bow staff whipping and forget about it. You're not breaking through him. Oh, that pizza couldn't have come at a better time. Alright, you want to do it that way? Fine, we'll do it that way. Blocking my attacks with your tonfas. And a tonfa, if you don't know what it is, it's an Okinawan weapon And essentially, it's a wooden bar that's about the length of your forearm with a handle. And if I don't know this for sure, but as I understand it, like most martial arts weapons of the time... Oh man, now we got Tuck and Razor. It was a weapon that when they came, it was developed as a farming implement. Ow. Okay, I've almost got him gone. Yeah, it takes care of Taka, or it takes care of Razor, and there's Taka. Now, hopefully there will be a pizza on the other side. Oh, okay. Now we're in the elevator. And unlike games like Battletoads, where they did similar levels like this, and of course Battletoads was done purely to capitalize on the phenomenon that was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What TMNT at least got right, and what Konami and their subsidiary companies like Ultra did, was they kept enough of the cartoon elements of it that even though the games were enjoyable to insanely difficult to various degrees, it didn't lose the overall aesthetic of what TMNT was trying to be. I got taken down by a mech puppy. I can't believe that. Ow. Those little running charge attacks that each turtle has, that's a lot of fun too, because you don't have to do anything special to get them. All you have to be able to do is be in position that you can utilize it and then run, and you're going to take somebody out. Hello, Shredder. Ow! Quit hitting me. Alright, in order to beat him, what I need to do is I need to be able to start doing that. And that was another element of this game that people really dug, was that they kind of broke the fourth wall in making the fourth wall something that you need to be able to utilize in order to beat certain enemies. Although I don't know if I'm going to live long enough to pull this one off. I'm not. Okay. I might as well try with Raphael. Oh, and I have to do this all over again. That's frustrating. Or no, okay. Okay, at least we only have to start here. Which, again, in keeping with the whole aesthetic of the arcade, if I'd had to pop a fresh quarter in, then I'd be starting right here anyway. Spin him around. There we go. Come on, get out of there. Alright, I just gotta hit him one more time. Or 2 more times. Or 3 more times. There he goes. Banishing you to a time warp, from which you will never return. Mwahaha. And for those of you who aren't old enough to remember when the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were a thing, and I suspect I'm talking to a few of you who are, along with The Simpsons and X-Men and a lot of the late 80s cartoons, and you had Batman coming back into the fray with the animated series, which is a phenomenal cartoon series. And at some point, we're going to play that video game as well, because that too is a really well done beat 'em up. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was an absolute paradigm shift in what kids were really getting into at the time. And a lot of it was in response to stuff that was coming up out of comics. You know, the whole idea of the Foot Clan came about as a guttural response to what Marvel Comics had done with characters like Daredevil, which took advantage of the whole 1980s ninja craze, in which the primary villain at one point that both Daredevil and Wolverine and other characters in the MCU fought was a ninja clan known as the Hand. Well, if you're going to do that, then if you're going to lampoon it, you might as well come up with a villain known as the Foot. Which is precisely what Kevin Steinman and the people behind TMNT did. So I think what I'll do is we'll try one more, and I'm going to go back to Leonardo here, see if we can't get through this. But if you have access to an emulator and you like to play multiplayer games, you can't go wrong with a game like TMNT 4. You just can't. Is it a perfect game? No. I mean, there's some bits of the controls that I am not a huge fan of, that you have to hit 2 buttons to activate the special attack. But by comparison to other fighting games and other beat-em-up games I've played, both from the late 80s, early 90s, and since, again, they got a lot more right than they did wrong. Alright, jerks. Alright, this one guy, I gotta be able to take him out. Or in this case, just run his butt off the screen. There. Blow him up. And again, I'm playing all my Super Nintendo games on the ZSNESW emulator, which it's a free emulator. It's not hard to set up, and you can play. The catalog is rich enough that I don't think there's a single game that I've ever picked up for the SNES that has not translated perfectly through this emulator. All right, jerk. Take them out. Please tell me there's a regular pizza around here. Ah! One more guy to go. Okay. Look out! We have Shredder Mountain back there. Or Mount Shredder, I should say. Slash. Your history, slime balls. Okay. Oof. Well, I've been taken out. And that's all the continues you get. So you only have so many continues you can utilize anyway, so the timing's perfect. But that, guys and gals, is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, or in case of the Super Nintendo, TMNT 4. If you enjoyed that, by all means, give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Ring the bell to be notified of the latest content. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at @Retrocade, and don't miss out on Sports Saturday. We're going to play a sports-based game from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th generation. We did SSX Tricky for the PS2 yesterday. And our ongoing playthrough of, first-time playthrough, I should say, of Final Fantasy VI for the Super Nintendo picks up tomorrow. We do 2 episodes a day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I'm already closing on 40 episodes in that series, and I'm only about a third of the way through Act 2. So I'm hoping to get it done in the next week or two, and I've already got my next game picked out for our playthrough series. I'm not going to give it away yet, but it is a game I have played before. I haven't played in a while, and I'm looking forward to it. So, as always, also, if you can, spread the word about the Retrocade. We're trying to hit our goal of 100 subscribers as soon as possible. Doing that allows us to unlock customizable content on the YouTube algorithm and make this channel even better. So if you can spread the word, would be most appreciated. As always, my name's Ronin. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will be back talking with you guys tomorrow. Bye.